Mark Bruno, PrintingNews.com and Printing News here on the eve of Graph Expo 15 with Nick Benkovich with EFI. Hi, Nick.
Hey.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Good to have you. And I want to ask you firstly about your title, which is Director of Portfolio Product Management. Tell us a little bit about what that means, please.
Yeah, so my job is really to look at, from the Enterprise Productivity Software Group, you're looking at the MIS and web-to-print products and all the value add that we have with that. Our good friend Udi that you've probably spoken to many times, PrintFlow, looking at the entire portfolio and understanding how it fits in the different market segments.
And Nick, this year EFI has won several Must-See Awards, in particular for some software products. So can you tell us a little bit about some of those and highlight maybe a few of the wins?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, this year was a great year. We spent a lot of time focusing, as I said, we have a great collection of products, a huge portfolio, and it's been focusing on the end-to-end workflow. And a lot of the wins this year came out of that focus on the end-to-end workflow. The big one for us, was the pace and metrics work that we've done. Mm-hmm. That's been a huge win for our customers. Being able to optimize during the estimating and in the job planning phase has saved significant production costs for them.
And is the end-to-end concept something that EFI has been, on for a while, or is it something relatively newer?
I think it's something that we've been evolving to.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at our user conference in January, we launched the Productivity Suite, and it was really about talking at the market level, understanding what a customer does, not just that the products can connect, but how they connect in specific environments. You're doing super wide format, maybe you're doing digital printing, there's offset. How are you managing the business, the types of work that you do, and how those components can fit together so that you don't end up with islands of automation, but really a streamlined end-to-end workflow.
Mm-hmm. And I know Udi told me a few months ago in an interview about the big FedEx Office application, which we've written about, but for the benefit of the audience, maybe you could elaborate on that customer and what they're doing in terms of the end-to-end solutions.
Yeah, it's really about taking input data and automating the production. So they have obviously a large deployment across the nation, and really taking those orders, scheduling those, and being able to do the cost analysis at the back end, so that when an order comes in, there's no manual touch points. Traditionally, you look at islands of automation. People have automated smaller components, but this was really about tying it all together and being able to take that job without anybody looking at it, bring it in, schedule it, and send it to the appropriate center. They have dozens of centers around the nation, and being able to send it to that center and schedule it so that an operator just looked at their job sheet and they knew exactly what they were working on next.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds as if that's a scalable solution, so it's not just the big players like a FedEx Office, for example.
Absolutely. It was great to be able to start with someone as big as FedEx. You find out the strength of the solution, but that solution we've deployed in smaller facilities, as small as $5 million operations, have taken advantage of all of the work that we've done there about that lights out, end-to-end, touchless workflow. And that's really what the Productivity Suite has been about, is about understanding what that end-to-end workflow was, taking it to our certification labs internally, and testing those workflows so that when we go out to the market and say, you're a digital printer, you're a hybrid printer, you're doing super wide format, here's the workflow that we have in the components and how they tie together for you.
Mm-hmm. And especially for the smaller or medium-sized shops, so to speak, can you elaborate, Nick, a little bit on how does this help people to be more competitive in a highly, hyper-competitive landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look, let's take the first step. Really it's about how do I get my work in? And we've seen many web-to-print solutions over the years. And they all call themselves web-to-print. But in a lot of cases what we've seen has been web-to-order. Customers get the order, it comes in, they have the content file, and they have a PDF or a web page they can go to see what the job specifications are. But this was about taking all of that, feeding it directly into an MIS system. In many cases, in that mid-market, it's PACE, feeding it into an MIS system, feeding out to the digital press, and having all of that automated, and the cost data coming back in real time. And using the scheduling so that I can see what are the most important jobs and where are my bottlenecks in my flow. Because while I may print it digitally, there may be some offline binding or cutting or drilling that has to happen. And all of those have to be scheduled to make sure that I optimize production and deliver on-time product.
And you mentioned earlier, fewer touches on the human side, so I'm assuming that also leads to a cost reduction in the back end.
Absolutely. The less people that touch it, the more money you can make. And what we've seen is many of our customers have been able to scale their business not by reducing staff, but by increasing capacity. So where they used to be able to produce 300 jobs a week, now they're doing 600, 700, 800 jobs with the same people just by putting in streamlined production and an end-to-end workflow.
It sounds like that ties into the trend of short runs, more jobs.
Absolutely. We know that the runs are getting shorter. More and more of the communication we're doing is being targeted. It's personalized, it's targeted. People aren't producing and warehousing like they used to. When I started in the industry 20 years ago, you produced, you warehoused, and you delivered on demand. Today, it's a really production on demand. And so the need to be able to produce effectively, efficiently, and today, in many cases, has become more critical. And the margins aren't increasing in our business. So we have to be careful about how we manage those costs.
Right. And looking ahead to tomorrow and the rest of the week here in Chicago, talk a little bit about maybe a broader picture of workflow software in the industry and trends maybe that that are out there that we can expect to see.
And I think we sort of touched on what we've seen over the last couple of years has been automation. People have been focused on automation and cost takeout. But it's really been pockets. It's been that we automate the MIS to pre-press. We may automate some production downstream, but it's been pockets of automation. I think what we're starting to see, and it's really what we've been driving with the productivity suite, is that end-to-end story. How do I take a job from in some cases, the inception of the job right through to it's on a truck and being delivered? How do I track that at every stage, understand the costs at every stage for my estimating, understand the real production costs, and be able to do accurate estimating and accurate cost analysis by customer, by product, taking all those people out of the equation so they can work on more opportunity for the business to grow and allow our customers to diversify, and that's becoming a bigger trend now. They're looking at digital printing, and that became a trend a few years ago. Now it's super wide format. That's just a huge growth market, and we're seeing more and more of our customers jump in there. And we won a couple of awards this year for it, which we were very grateful for, and that's becoming a much, much bigger part of the industry.
It sounds like a lot of this technology is kind of leveling the playing field in a way that smaller type operations can appear to be bigger than they really are. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, it really is. It allows them to diversify and compete with the big guys in many ways. And how they differentiate themselves is the services that they offer. Gone are the days where you had to compete on price only. We want to make sure that they have the most efficient workflow and they can add value in different components. There may be some specialty production that they do, but it might be the way they serve their customers.
Right, interesting. Well, Nick, we look forward to going downstairs and visiting the EFI exhibit, and thanks for spending some time with us, and have a great show.
Appreciate it. Thank you.